Rob G, it's that time to get into the show, and let's start it off with, that's right, our daily update on the Dallas Cowboys. Here we go. So, Rob G, Jerry Jones, one of his great friends, also a friend of the show, and literally friends of Rob Parker, Stephen A. Smith, who gets to talk bad and bash the Cowboys and all that, but he'll say it's more the fans than the Cowboys themselves. He had him on the show. Do we have any sound from Jerry?
I don't think we have it ready.
Okay, well, listen, Jerry Jones had a lot to say with his friend Stephen A. Smith. Let's break down a couple of the things he talked about. We've been hitting on this all week, the drama between he and Micah Parsons, he and Micah's agent, and just where things stands. Rob G, give me a couple of bits of the latest that we have there.
Yeah, so it all started yesterday. We mentioned it on the show. He was on the Michael Irvin podcast, and he goes on this whole thing about how, we had a deal in place, years, terms, money, and his agent, Micah Parsons' agent, David Mulugeta, said, shove it up your ass. Apparently, he didn't actually say that, according to Ryan Clark, that was not actually said by him. But as Jerry has been known to do, he's on a full-blown media blitz. Because after he did the Michael Irvin podcast, he jumped on Fox News. He also jumped on Stephen A's podcast. And in it, he doubled down on the initial comments about Mulugeta. Here's what he said, quote, "I'm not going for it," talking about this whole situation. "We've had a very, very strong negotiation. By the way, frankly, it wouldn't have made any difference what the negotiation was, because guess who has to be comfortable for this to work? Me, Micah. There's not room for a third." End quote.
Okay, let's start there. There's a lot to get to. We're probably going to carry this conversation and the other side of things to the next segment, because you and I got a lot to touch when it comes to this. Let's start that last part you just mentioned there. Me and Micah, essentially, that's it. Well, first of all, Micah doesn't have a relationship with you without an agent, Rob G, because he can't have a deal. He can't be part of the Dallas Cowboys without an agent, because that's part of the collective bargaining agreement. So hold that for a side. Jerry Jones is acting like he's in some smoky Vegas nightclub on some mobster vibes, Rob G, with having a scotch and soda, and he's signing a deal on the napkin with Micah Parsons. You absolutely have to have an agent involved. It's absolutely part of the contract, CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. And yes, you guys can converse. Yes, you can agree that we both want this to work. We both want to find this way to make this happen so we can stay with each other. But the idea that you can have a conversation legally without him as if he's going to sign a napkin in blood, that's not how this works, Jerry. And this is why I used the comparison yesterday that I think is still apropos. Because you mentioned today Jerry Jones going on a million talk shows and a million different things like that. And I believe Jerry Jones is trying to operate as this marketing guru, this person who brings all eyes on us, and to his credit, he does. And to his credit, he has the Dallas Cowboys as the biggest and most important franchise in the NFL. However, he's doing it unlike another Jerry, and I mentioned Dr. Jerry Buss, rest in peace, because Dr. Jerry Buss had mastered marketing, had mastered getting his game being the place to be in LA, with the Lakers, with the Forum, and having the Forum Club, and the Laker girls, and Showtime era Lakers, and on to Shaq and Kobe, and so on and so forth. He created it being a must-see, must-happen, you have to be their place to be. The biggest brand in the NBA, one of the biggest sports brands in the world. Oh, and by the way, since Jerry Jones bought the Cowboys in around circa 1988, 89, well, he's won because of Jimmy Johnson a couple of times, and then, of course, in 95, Barry Switzer, but we ain't heard from him since. And Dr. Jerry Buss had won around 6 or 7 rings, right? 8 rings, really, since Jerry Jones has bought the Cowboys. So you can actually have it both ways, be it a marketing extraordinaire and also get wins as well. So this is a 30-year pattern for him. This is nothing new. He did the same thing with Emmitt Smith back in 93. Held him out a few games right there, made a bunch of public comments about his worth then. Of course, they kissed and made up. He did it, as we know, sometimes and a little bit later in the 90s with Michael Irvin. He's done it, of course, with Dak. He's done it with CeeDee. He's doing it now with Micah. And I just wonder, at some point, I know he loves the fraternity of the Cowboys, Rob G, and he puts his arm around all his guys, and they all genuinely love him. But at some point, is somebody going to take offense that you're playing with me public, that you're making a fool of me public, that you're playing around with me like a friend you can smack in the back of the neck all the time, And when they finally get mad and flex at you, go, all right, my bad, I'm just having fun. And that's how he dangles these contracts and shows off and makes public spouts and has fun with them because it's all publicity is good publicity. And is there a point when somebody doesn't care anymore, Rob G? Well, I don't care. I'm willing to do whatever it takes to move on because I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to play these games. And I wonder if Micah will stand 10 toes down in this moment and be that first person to really set it off.
Well, I'll tell you what, everything you said is accurate, right? But here's something that we got to consider when it comes to Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, just in the last 10 years, has had this kind of situation happen, I think like 6 or 7 times. Go down the list, all right? Starting in 2015, Des Bryant had a contract situation dragged out.
Yep.
DeMarcus Lawrence, Zeke Elliott, Dak Prescott, Zach Martin, CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. They all held out. And interestingly enough, outside of Micah, none of those guys were rep by David Mulugheta. So a different agent each time. He's had the same situation happen over and over and over and over and over. Now, to your point, at what point is someone going to say enough's enough? I'm tired of this. I don't need to have the walking soap opera. I don't need the sideshow. I'm here for football. I'm here to get paid. Point blank, period. Well, as we talked about yesterday, I'm still watching the America's Team documentary or docuseries on Netflix. As of 2 p.m. Pacific here on Friday, it was still top 10 on Netflix. It is still a monster. Jerry Jones, last I checked, has 100-fold his investment in the Dallas Cowboys. Not double, not triple, not 10 times. 100 times what he paid for it is what it's worth now. So you said, when is someone going to say enough's enough? It's not going to happen. It would have happened by now. Jerry Jones, at his core, is a businessman. That's what led to him breaking up with Jimmy Johnson, if you watch the documentary. He thinks he's a football guy. He's not. Ultimately, he's in this business to make money. He'd like to win, but he wants to win on his terms. And so because of that, you are seeing this play out over and over and over again, whether it's coaches like Jimmy Johnson or players now like Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones is here to make money and make the Cowboys the biggest show in sports. He has been wildly successful at that. So because of it, I don't see any scenario where this stops. This is going to keep going until he eventually passes away.
Well, you know what else is going to keep going, Rob G?
What's that?
12-5, getting out in the wild card or getting out in the first round. That's exactly what's going to keep happening as well, because Jerry Buss put in Jerry West to lead the organization, arguably the greatest basketball mind we knew from a player standpoint, from a front office, even coaching until he didn't want to do it anymore because he was too connected to the game in every aspect, to putting in a Pat Riley, who's going to be getting a statue here in L.A. soon at Crypto.com Arena, to putting in Phil Jackson, some would say arguably the greatest coach of all time in the NBA. So they understood Dr. Buss and how to put somebody in position who's smarter than me, put him in the positions to win. And Jerry, I understand it. He absolutely is not going to change this side of him, but the idea that he has to do even the football side is my one issue with him. If you paired him and Jimmy Johnson together, man, that would have been magical. It was magical, right? It could have continued to be magical. One who understands and can get the best out of the players. And Jimmy Johnson did that wherever he went, in college and, of course, in the pros. And then a guy who was a marketing extraordinaire, and Jimmy. That could have been a match made in heaven. That could have been peanut butter and jelly, and don't nothing in the world go better than peanut butter and jelly.
But Jerry Buss had the same situation with Jerry West. He did the exact same thing. He had a guy in place with a proven track record of building championship roster after championship roster, making trades, signing dudes, drafting guys ahead of guys you wouldn't expect, like arranging trades to get Magic Johnson number one. A couple years later, making a trade to get James Worthy number one. That kind of stuff going on. And did Jerry West finish career with the Lakers? No. In fact, we found out after he passed, they had beef for 20 years because of the way Jerry Buss handled his situation with Jerry West. It ended badly between Jerry Buss and Phil Jackson. So this idea that Jerry Buss...
Hold on, Rob G. How many rings both of them get up out of there?
That's fine, but it worked with I can't be defending Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, Jimmy Johnson, they both had a situation where they had guys in place that knew what they were doing better than the owner did. And it still wasn't enough. Because ultimately, these guys, in addition to being the ones that write the checks, they are showmen.
And the difference is one of them showed me, if you were a Laker fan, you would say, he showed me the money, as in the rings. Showed me the rings. We got a bunch of rings out of it, Laker fans can say. Cowboys fans, if you're the age of 30, you don't even know what a ring looked like other than your wedding ring. All right, it is the Odd Couple. Rob G's in for Rob Parker on this funky Flashback Friday. And again, we were talking about there's another side to this we have to get to as well, and that is the meltdown that we're seeing happen digitally. Rob G, more to the Micah and Jerry drama that is breaking down our face. This one is more the digital download version, the social media version. And Micah Parsons, as we know, we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but some more kind of happened as the show ended for us. But so we started with the Micah Parsons putting up the Micah 7:8 scripture for the Bible. Even if I fall, I will rise. The Lord is my light. He put that up. Then he goes on to put up one. And it says, it's basically over the Allen Iverson clip where he says, wherever I go, I'm going to win. I don't care where I go. I don't give a dang what team I go to. I'm going to win. I'm going to win regardless. It don't matter. Michael with the peace sign as well. So
scrub the Cowboys from all of his bios.
Scrub the Cowboys from his bio, which is big time. I'm hurt. My ex is tripping energy. Is he just a hurt ex? What's going on right now?
Yo, this is embarrassing, bro.
It is.
Like, this is some Gen Z social media meltdown. I'd expect it. I forget that he's only 26. I'd expect this from a certain somebody's girlfriend, right? Ooh. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, this is what we see. I don't expect this from a guy who's supposed to be a businessman. Or in this case, I'm a businessman. Like, Micah Parsons is supposed to be that guy. And what's funny about this whole thing is he could scrub all the social medias. He could put out all the tweets, put out all the TikToks, create these really cool graphics to put up on X. It ain't going to matter. Because as Jerry Jones alluded to on the Stephen A. podcast earlier, I got control of him for 3 more years. Point blank, period. As long as I want him in Dallas, he is going to be in Dallas. Until Micah Parsons decides I'm skipping game checks, $1.2 million a week. That's how serious I am about getting out of Dallas. Then no, you ain't getting traded. This is not the NBA. You cannot Jimmy Butler, James Harden your way out of a deal. Micah Parsons and his whole Twitter, Instagram, social media meltdown that he's having, it's all for naught. It's not going to matter. Because let's say we play that game where he's like, hey, you know, I'm really going to sit out games. I'll cost myself $21 million if I have to. You know what happens if he doesn't? I think he has to play at least 7 games for his contract. It's just going to toll ahead to another year. Mm-hmm. So instead of having your rights for 3 years, I got it for 4. Like, Micah, this is not going to go the way you think it's going to go. You got no leverage in this situation. So I don't know. This whole thing is just, it's fodder.
But here's what makes it strange to me, Rob G. They had a chance a couple years ago, according to reports, that they came to Jerry and were like, yo, Jerry, you know, he's one of the best, if not the best player defensively at the time. We can get some for him, obviously, because we know it's going to be big money here in a couple seasons. Jerry says, no, we're not trading him. It's our guy. He's our guy. Boom. But you also haven't signed him. So now you have him disgruntled. He's and it's amazing what a few months will do. Because a few months ago, Micah was screaming, Cowboy for life. I want to be here. I don't care the money. I'll take a deal. It doesn't matter. And now here we are with my boo-boo to hurt me. I'm about to scrub my page. We never went together. We were never a thing. It's a wrap. And I totally hear what you mean, because Jerry ultimately has that contract. The only thing I'll say is, one thing we know about football, you and I sit next to the Ephraim Salams, the Kerry Rose, the Bucky Brooks used to be like, all these other people would be on all the time. You know, I used to sit next to Marcellus Wiley for years. And point is, we know how fragile locker rooms can be.
Yes. And
by the reports that we also have seen, Micah Parsons isn't the leader that he thinks he is, right? That's what
correct.
Reports were.
Jane Slater.
Exactly. So Slater mentions that. And then you look at, now if I have a guy who already trying to be the leader, we kind of let it go a little bit because he's the best player. It's like, all right, whatever. But now he's disgruntled, don't want to be there. And to your point, fine, let's say he is there, but maybe he takes his foot off the pedal just enough, where he's still playing hard, but that extra that makes him a top 3 defender, if you will, 3, 4, whatever, is missing. Those are the types of things that can hurt your whole team. If the goal is to get to the postseason, if the goal is to get to an NFC championship game, ultimately the goal is to get to the Super Bowl. And if you're a Dak Prescott type saying, trying to be the leader of this team, trying to get these guys all in, get back to a 12-5 season and then get to the postseason, see what we can do, you don't need any extra thing. You're right. And I just think that's the sucks out of the whole thing is for the guys we don't talk about. The offensive linemen who just put on their helmets and go to work every day, right? That DB, that safety, that linebacker who's just showing up every day. No drama, just coming to play hard. This extra little thing could be the thing that loses our team in locker room just a bit. Just a bit. Because we're already fighting uphill battle in our own division. It's not, let alone the NFC, let alone the NFL, within our own division. So these are the little things to me that can add up.
Well, last question before we get to Monty. Why is it that Micah can undermine his agent, but Jerry Jones can't? Because you mentioned it, Micah's like, I don't need to be the highest paid guy. I want to be a Dallas Cowboy for life. I don't need to be top of the market. And then Jerry Jones like, all right, then I ain't going to talk to your agent. Let's just do the deal, me and you. But why is it like?
And give me credit. Dang it, I want some credit. Didn't I tell you this months ago? Put some
respect on my name.
Didn't I say this months ago?
Yep.
Dude, I have an agent. You know, Rob Parker, I don't know if he doesn't. I'm assuming he did. If he didn't, he had one.
He had one,
Yeah, but my point is, dude, at a certain point in your life, you realize, let them do the dirty work, let them talk. You can say, yo, I want to be a Cowboy for life, so I'm going to let them work it out, but you don't have to go overboard. And I think Micah doing that easily makes it where Jerry's real good at coming in and rubbing elbows and, oh, who, hot, ho, and you just see, oh, how's your mom? How's everything? You know, he's great at that.
Have you heard of the White House?
Have you heard of the
president? The one from the 90s.
I know we're going to go visit the White House when we win this Super Bowl, Micah. He's good at that. And I can see how he would take a 25, 26-year-old and they look up and they're like, what the heck? I daggone almost signed my life away. It wouldn't have counted, but yeah, he done wooed me. Jerry knows what he's doing. All right.